Welcome. And thank you for joining us for another live episode of Teachers for Teachers. I'm Dr. Dejana, and I'm here with Dr. Leah.
Hello, everybody. I'm really happy to be here today. And our guest I'm excited about. She's also an alum from the same university, Antioch. So let's get at it, Dejana. Let's introduce her.
Yes, we are so happy to have Leah Willis, the founder of City Youth Exposure, CYE, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. CYE believes that in the traditional education system, positive exposure is the missing component that motivates youth to succeed academically, professionally, and personally. Their mission is to introduce youth to people, places, and things they would not normally or easily experience in their daily lives. By providing positive, unique, and educational experiences, they empower youth to envision a possible positive future and pursue active roles in society. This is actually a truly beautiful mission. I'm really excited to dive in. But before we get started, why don't we have our guest speakers say hello? Leah, why don't you just say hello and give us just a little brief introduction and add a little bit to what I said about the work that you do.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here and to have a discussion with you all. And CYE is something that came from my heart. And I'm very excited about the work that we do because we help youth develop a vision for their future and to discover a purpose for their lives, which is, I believe, is huge to provide direction for where they want to go and who they want to become. So that's something that we're very passionate about, and that's something that we love to do and that we look forward to continuing doing into the future.
I love it. It seems like you're focused on providing experiences, like legit deep experiences. Can you tell us a little bit more of what you mean by those experiences?
Yes, so we love to design experiences that are focused on the youth. We learn a lot about the youth that are part of our program, and we design it based off of what their talents are, what their interests are, things that they're good at, things that they're curious about. So we design it specifically for them, and we allow them to have a voice in what we create for them. So that's something that we pride ourselves in, is just allowing youth to speak to us and designing these experiences so that it's beneficial for them, that is meaningful to them, and it provides a purpose a specific purpose for them, so they are able to see how it makes sense for them right now, and then how it's going to make sense for them in the future as well.
I have so many questions about what you're doing and so appreciate all of the work that you've done getting your organization here. Maybe we should, Dejana, bring in the rest of the panel first, because you know how I can get.
Absolutely. So, if you're joining us today for the first time, we always have an amazing panel to join the conversation. So, let me first introduce to you Dr. Mark Riddle. Go ahead and say hello, Dr. Mark.
Glad to see you all today.
Mark has degrees in music, theology, and sociology, and works at West Coast University and currently lives in the Los Angeles area. We also have Tim Griffin joining the conversation. Go ahead and say hello.
Hey, it's so good to see you guys today. How's everybody doing?
Tim is a regular with us, a retired STEM teacher and an award-winning singer, songwriter, and storyteller. The founding director of Griffin Ed, a nonprofit team of educators and musicians that are dedicated to raising academic achievement in STEM and other subjects through educational music. Let's also welcome Dr. Marcella Klein-Williams. Go ahead and say hello.
Hi, everybody. So glad to be here today.
Dr. Marcella Klein-Williams is an accomplished leader in education and well known in both formal and informal learning environments. Dr. Williams is a frequent speaker on issues of equity and currently the STEM director of Oxnard College. What an amazing team.
It's a great group. So I really am interested, Leah, in how, like, where your motivation for this came from, because I think you also work a full-time job and got this nonprofit started?
Yes. My motivation just comes from love, just working with youth and just seeing them smile and seeing them, their lights their eyes just light up. And it's just something that it does, it's just to see how the work that we do is actually changing something within them. That's something that motivates me every time I see them smile and hear them say how our work has impacted them. So that's it.
Do you have any stories of individuals that you can share with us, without their names, of course, but just...
Yeah, so one of our experiences, we took youth to two game design companies, and one person in particular, he was very interested in becoming a game designer. And then we had another young person who had a talent in drawing. And so when we took them to these game design companies, they were able to see to see a path to how to get from where they are right now to becoming a game designer, and to also be exposed to the different career avenues within that field. And then for the young man who has a talent in drawing, he was able to see how he can use his talent for actual career. So that was something that we were really excited about, and just seeing him smile and just be so excited about that. That was a great experience.
So I'm guessing that as an alum of Antioch, you have some social justice themes in the back of your head all the time too. I'm wondering about experiences that you may have involved, the participants in that had a social justice bent to them, like outings that had other kinds of developmental possibilities associated with them.
Yeah, so we like to, our approach is it's not as direct. So our approach is instilling confidence. It's instilling purpose. It's helping youth develop develop like who they are as a person, their identity. So that's power in itself, and that's something that could help youth advance beyond any limitations that they believe that they have, or any limitations that are put upon them. So if we instill all of these characteristics and qualities in our youth, then they're able to excel beyond what they believe that they're able to do. So that's how we kind of go beyond or overcome the obstacles that we face when it comes to social justice and the issues that we're dealing with right now, just to become the change that we want to see and be examples for that.
Right. If I could say something, I was looking at your website earlier, Leah, and I was delighted at what you guys are doing, because I spent 18 years teaching in a tough part of Los Angeles in Title I schools, and it's one thing for me to go to that part of town and talk about all the careers and all the possibilities and stuff to a whole lot of kids who might look at me, and they're thinking, well, he doesn't look like me, and he's the only person that I interact with on a regular basis who's been to college, let alone graduate school. And I can bring in I can bring in my friends. I can bring in a friend who's an architect and a friend who's an engineer and so on. But most of my friends look like me. And again, it's just sort of like, it's almost like talking to the kids about Mars sometimes, it feels like, where they'll sort of nod their heads and, yeah, that sounds cool for you, but not for me. I could never do that. And so it seems to me that a big piece that's missing from the whole STEM and the other fields that we're trying to help the kids with is just exposure to what we can do with these things. And I love that your organization is taking kids out there where they can just meet the people and be in the place and sort of breathe the air that's being breathed by the professionals that are working in these fields that they've heard about, but all of a sudden now it's real. And I love that you're just, it's all about just, just FaceTime and making that contact and making it all real to the kids. So thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you for that. Yeah,
You
that's
just,
exactly what we has set out to do. So thank you so much for acknowledging that.
it reminds me of what
Go ahead, Leah. Sorry.
I was going to actually bring in Marcella, because that's very much, we did a project with Oxnard College with Marcella where we were exposing the students to people who looked like them who were in professional careers, and the idea of bringing them, as you were saying, Leah, to game design firms. I mean, they're all playing games, so if they can see that there are job opportunities and careers and well-paying careers that exist behind the things that they're doing all the time. So, Marcella, I thought maybe you'd like to jump in.
Oh, yeah. And as a result of the pandemic, we haven't been able to kind of restart what we call the Snapshot program. But I remember, and this is what I was going to ask you about, Leah, as well, is at the end of these really rich, engaging activities that they can be so transformational. I remember one particular student, her name's Ariana, and she's now at UCLA. When she went through, it was they're the ones who had done the work at Harry Potter World and kind of amusement park developers. And she had said to me on the bus, but also later, she had never seen anything like that. She hadn't been in a space where kind of creatives were at work. So now she was aware of the idea that there were jobs that she hadn't imagined. So she had this bigger idea of, well, what else can be possible? And I remember when we were back on campus, this is months later, and she was telling me, they call me Marcella, I just see things differently now. I know there are things that I don't know that now I want to know what those are. And I think that's, some of the research behind engagement, where when it's learning and it's education, well, you have to put in, there's a certain amount of time that you have to invest to be able to get those concepts. So it's, like shoveling coal. But engagement is magical. It's like a shooting star. It can happen in an instant and be transformational. So Leah, the question for you is, has this been happening long enough that you've had that opportunity for students well after it's happened to come back and say, hey, this is what it did for me?
So not yet, because we work with kids who are really fairly young, but we're still keeping track and trying to find out how exactly they turned out. So we're looking forward to that day, when that day comes, to see where our youth are going to end up, to see how City Youth Exposure has impacted them in their decisions for their future. So that's something that we're very excited about, and something that we want to expand our programs to be more advanced in, as far as making in addition to connecting them with these opportunities, but in addition to creating these experiences for youth, but also help them along the way in the long term as they get older and going into high school, going into college and beyond, to help them along the way as well. So yeah, a lot of times when it comes to I remember when I was growing up, it was so important at that time when you're so young is because we have imagination. It's something that we have imagination and curiosity, and that's something that we value a lot when it comes to our youth, because that's something that we kind of let go as we get older. And it's just such a valuable thing that we have. It helps us innovate. It helps us create. It helps us do so many things. So we like to tap into that when it comes to our youth, and then and how to kind of develop that into vision, to more a focused vision as they get older. So that's something that we're very excited about. That's something that we know is going to be very valuable for our youth in their development.
Dejana, I was going to leave that for you instead of jumping in.
I was just gonna say, Leah, this is really hitting me. I'm just taking a quick look at your website here, and I know one of the experiences a beach experience. I grew up in the Los Angeles area myself, and here I am, a full-blown adult with my doctorate in marine science and marine biology. And it's one of those things where I think back to if there was an opportunity for me as a young person to have some of these experiences with a group of my peers, how supported I would have felt as I went through and pursued this career and this degree and all of this exploration. But what you just did was you connected it to curiosity. And my story, my personal story, and my personal journey about experiencing this career as a marine biologist was completely fueled by curiosity. Yes, I had to level up my game as I, got deeper and deeper in it, but it was all about constantly keeping my fire for curiosity and asking questions and seeking out understanding, keeping that going. And that's what the delivering experiences is all about. So it's really, really cool for you to share with us your programs, because I think they're continuing to keep the kindling, to keep the wood on the fire of curiosity, so that these young people's minds are open to having an impactful life in terms of career choices. So I love this whole ocean beach theme. I'm liking it. No question. I just wanted to give you a compliment.
Oh, okay, thank you so much. I just want to say, it's just amazing how, living in LA, a lot of kids don't go to the beach, And I remember when I was in high school, it took us about 2 hours to get from where we lived to the beach, taking public transit. And we always tried to make it happen as many times as we could, but just the obstacles that were there, just to go to the beach, which is not many miles away. That's something that I recognize, and I want to make sure that we provided the opportunity for youth and to help them help them know, if you just because you don't see a way right now doesn't mean that there isn't a way. There is always a way, and you have to use your curiosity, use your imagination, use those things to find resources, to discover resources, to talk to other people, to learn, to read, to use the internet that we have now to increase our knowledge in different things. And then when we do have the opportunity to actually go touch, see, feel, and be in these environments, then we're able to embrace those moments a lot more, and to value them, and to ask the question that we've always had, and just to make that one of the best experiences that we can. Well, yeah.
I think that's a message for us all, not just the youth, every single person that's hearing this. That is a message for us humans to remember and walk through life with. Beautifully stated.
Yeah.
And how do you engage the mentor side, like the people who you're going to expose the kids to?
They are always excited. We tend to just reach out to them, and sometimes they're the people that we already know. Sometimes it's the people the board members know, and they're so welcoming, and they're so enthusiastic about helping to create these experiences for our youth. So it's exciting for them as it is for the kids themselves. So they're so happy to do it, so very happy, and we are so grateful for that.
Do you have a sort of 5-year plan or an idea of where you'd like the organization to be down the road?
Yeah, we would like the organization, like as I mentioned before, we would like the organization to be a long-standing entity within a community where our youth can come to learn, to explore, to develop their skills, and to figure out what their purpose is for their lives, and for a place for them to go to on a daily basis, where they could constantly work on their crafts and work on their plans for their lives, and to also help them in their academic on the academic side as well, because those things go hand in hand. So we want to be a long-term entity within a community that can be something that the youth can really depend on, and be there for them to support them throughout their entire journey.
And what do you think you need the most to get from here to there? Especially, and like, how many students can you accommodate in the course of a year now, and what would you like to be doing in that 5 years?
So right now we can accommodate, we like to keep our group of 10 youth or below. And then, so right now that's what our focus is. But in the future, like on an ongoing basis, of course, we would like to see that grow into maybe 20 youth. And maybe it'd be across different experiences throughout the year, because we like it to be the intimate. We like to have like the intimacy of the group. So we like to keep the groups kind of small. So we don't want to let go of that, but we want to serve more youth throughout the year, definitely. So we would like to serve 500 to 1,000 youth every year. If we can get to a point where we're serving 10,000 youth a year, that would be great within a facility. So we're looking for funding, we're looking for people, we're looking for partners, we're looking for youth, just people who are just supportive of our mission, people who are supportive of youth and their future, people who want to see youth thrive. That's what we're looking for.
Was there anyone in particular in your youth and your childhood that inspired you to see yourself being able to do these things?
Oh, man, you know what? Who inspired me the most? I have so many people that I kind of took from. I know it started from the home, for sure. My mother created a home for us that was nurturing, that was loving. She's a praying woman. She makes sure that we're covered on the spiritual side, and that's something that inspired me. That's something that instilled in me, that helped me to develop confidence in myself, that helped me to figure out what my purpose is in life. That's something that kept me strong through every adversity. So the lessons that I learned growing up came from home. It came from church. It came from the different people who helped me along the way, like my college counselor in high school, where he just provided so many opportunities for me to pursue different scholarship opportunities, where I was able to go to college for free and then have additional scholarships on top of that. So it's so many people who have made an impact on my life, and so many people that I drew wisdom and knowledge from, that that kind of enabled me to go ahead and do what I'm doing today.
It sounds like you're very big on giving back.
Yes, absolutely.
and paying it forward, because what your mother instilled in you, it sounds like that's what you're offering to the students that you work with.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
That's awesome. It sounds like it's a lot of fun for everybody who's engaged in it, from the students, obviously, but the mentors as well. I wish we had a program like that near me for me to participate in. I think that sounds like just so much fun.
Who knows? It might be someday.
Yeah.
That would be the goal, I suppose, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who, are you on your own with the organization? Do you have some collaborators who have picked up on your passion and are moving it forward with you?
Yes, we have our board, of course, and then my older sister as well. She's been working closely with my older sister since the very beginning. So so that's something that I'm really happy about, and it's great to be able to have something that you do with a family member or your family. Yeah, just we're just having fun doing it, and we have so many things to look forward to together.
Well, I also am someone who works with family, and that's always, people say, "Oh my God, you're working with family. How does that work? How does it work for you? What happens when you have a challenge between the two of you?"
I'll say it's easy because we can have our challenge and then get over it, fairly quickly. We're okay with expressing ourselves and dealing with whatever we have in front of us. And no matter what happens, we know that we're there for each other. We know where our heart is. We love each other. We support each other. So it's challenging and sometimes, but then it's great in many other ways.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you have a healthy relationship, then you can have conflict and you can get past it because you have a common goal and a mission, and everyone can buy back into that. Well, actually, when President Obama was asked about leadership, that was what he said about leadership, was that you need to be able to keep everyone focused on the mission, so that when there is a problem and an issue comes up, you can all be reminded of why you're there and find a way to settle the issue and move forward productively for the whole organization. And I certainly think that the idea that you shouldn't work with family is sort of misled. It's one thing if if you plan to do something illegal or underhanded, then maybe you don't want to have family involved because you don't want to drag everybody down. But I think if you're doing honorable work and your mission is solid and sort of community focused, then it's wonderful. And everything I have heard and read about you tells me that that is where you come from. So I'm guessing, since you credit your mother with a lot of the motivation, your sister had the same experience growing up. And
Yes. Yeah, our family is built on love, which is why I'm actually wearing this necklace right now. It's just a daily reminder for me to operate out of love in every situation I'm in every encounter I have with another person. It's very important to operate out of love because that leads to loving outcomes, positive outcomes.
right, and it gives you a better perspective on mistakes and problems. I know often if I call Dejana and say, "Oh dear, we've got a problem," her reaction is usually, "Oh no, humans again," right? And if those
It's so true. But I love that statement, like act out of love and you can get loving outcomes. And I think that's really what your organization is all about. It's an act of love for these young people and the youth, our young humans, as I call them, our young humans, and to kind of give them open their eyes to so many different loving, amazing opportunities that are out there. So I see it in you, and I see the work entwined in your organization as well.
Thank you.
Mark, we saw you light up there like you had a question or something, and then did I interrupt you?
Oh, no, not at all. I just reflecting on the kinds of experiences that I have or provided over the years, and admiring the work and the effort that's put into doing this very necessary work for our kids.
Do we have any last minute questions? Because I think we're coming up on our half hour now. Dejana, do you want to take us out?
Absolutely. What can I say? A huge, huge thank you to our guest, Leah Willis, thank you so much for sharing your mission and your vision and just for pouring this work into the community. We really appreciate your time and talking to us. Also, big thank you to Dr. Marcella Klein-Williams, Tim Griffin, Dr. Mark Riddle, our panel, always illuminating, Dr. Leah Haynes, dear friend and colleague. That's it. We're at the end of our program. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you join us again soon for another episode of Teachers for Teachers. Signing off.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks. Bye, Leah.